Redbeard Podcast is brought to you by these cool dudes.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Tony from the Redbeard Podcast, and I'm hanging out with my boy,
Cooley.
Yeah, guys, this is the Redbeard Podcast. You guys can find us everywhere on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, any social media outlet you can think of. Check us out, guys. Just look up Redbeard Podcast. We are there. So, yeah, man, what's going on this week? What's going on with you?
Lots of stuff, man.
Like what?
Got married.
You got married? I wasn't invited to the wedding? That sucks.
Nobody was.
You guys eloped?
No.
No?
Is that what you call it?
Yeah, when you just like go somewhere and get married, don't tell anybody you eloped?
Dude, 15 years, man, we're fucking straight up married. Like, that's all. But I'm announcing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, definitely, man. You definitely are you definitely are married. You guys have been living together forever, so that totally makes sense. What else, man? Anything cool happened this week yet? You had the day off today.
I did.
What'd you do?
Dude, so funny you should ask, right? It's Halloween season.
Yeah.
Right? And I sat at home and I had these credits on my Xbox, right? Microsoft Money that was given to me last year for Christmas. Every year I get it. This year I didn't spend it. It's just been sitting there. It's been burning a hole in my pocket. And they've got this thing, the Shocktober sale on Xbox Live. And I just fucking went nuts.
Well, you were telling me you downloaded a game that you wanted me to check out called Outlast.
Yeah, it was $6.50, something
Kind
ridiculous like that.
Yeah.
Like, you cannot go wrong for $6.50 on this game because it is friggin' scary.
Really? Well,
Yeah.
when you were talking to me, you know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of that game Fear. First Encounter Assault Recon.
Yeah, minus the assault.
Yeah, you said there was no weapons.
Yeah, you have no weapons. You have no way to defend yourself. You're walking around with a camcorder, right, that has night vision on it.
Yep.
And like that's your only means of seeing in the dark. So like the only thing you pick up, like, you know how usually you pick up like bullets and grenades and all kinds of shit, like when you're walking around these games, the only thing you can pick up in this game is batteries
For your camcorder.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's just like it's freaky as shit. Like, the atmosphere is awesome. They did a really good job building tension in the game, but one of the coolest things about it is that the fear isn't like, you know, oh, I saw a scary thing and now I'm scared and I can't turn out the lights. No, it's like, it's that jump fear. It's that shit like where you don't expect something and it just jumps, like it just happens and you're just like, you jump out of your skin for like 2 seconds and you're like, but then you're fine after.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like I'm sitting there like shivering. Like I'm walking around, but like now it gets you on edge where your like hairs are standing up on the back of your neck and you're like looking around every corner and you're trying to avoid that jump scare, but they get you every time.
Well, what's the you said there's you mentioned, we were talking about this earlier. You said something I thought was super cool about this game, which is if you are, I guess, like usually when you're in a game where you pull the trigger. Like, that's where you would fire a gun. But when you pull the trigger in this game, you actually look behind you to see if you're getting away from something.
Yes.
Which I thought is awesome because in normal games, like, you just run and it's usually like you're behind the guy running or it's like a first-person view.
Right.
But you don't have the ability to look behind you.
Yeah.
Unless you, like, do a 180 and run backwards.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, this, like, the whole purpose of the game is to survive and get away, right? So instead of assaulting or encountering these things and, like, assaulting them, you're not confronting anything, so you're not taking anything on head on. So the triggers are naturally to turn around and make sure that you're getting away from what you're trying to get away from. And it's really friggin' cool.
Now, are you like in an asylum? Like, what was the backstory for this quickly?
Yeah, so you're in an asylum that's been kind of overrun by the inmates, or patients or whatever. They're all criminally insane. It's not just like a regular asylum. It's an asylum for criminally insane people. There's also like some weird like mutated monster things. Not entirely sure what they are yet because I haven't gotten that far in the game, but they are very friggin' strong, and it's like that insanity strength.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like where they just like, you're not getting away from them if they get you, and they will kill you immediately. So it's really, really interesting. So like you pull up, the first like minute of the game is just you driving down this like long like driveway to the insane asylum, and then you get out of your car and you walk in, and then the game starts. There's no backstory. There's no like
intro video.
Nothing. It's just you just start playing the game.
Yeah,
and it's nerve-wracking.
What's the rating on this? Did it have a good rating?
Oh, it's mature.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean like
reviews, I guess?
Every review I read was like a 4.5 out of 5, through the Xbox Live rating system.
Yeah. I
didn't really look it up on anything else because, hey, 650, I'm not going to go crazy trying to find ratings from Metacritic and shit. Like 4.5 on Xbox Live was good enough for me. $6.50. I bought it. I was happy. It was excellent. I mean, even if I only played that half hour or 45 minutes that I played, it was worth the $6.50 because it was a lot of fun and it was shocking and thrilling.
Yeah.
I also bought the Michonne miniseries,
nice.
The Walking Dead one.
Yeah.
Friggin', I started it. It's great. It's what I expect from Telltale, which is amazing storytelling and fantastic voice work. And, it's based on Michonne from the comics, not from the TV series. So if you're playing it, you may not recognize the character. You'll obviously recognize her because she's the same in the show as she is in the comic, but there are going to be circumstances and situations that you won't recognize.
Got you.
Because it actually takes place during a period after Negan's been introduced in the comics. So like this time frame hasn't even occurred in the show yet. But that started off pretty good. And then I also purchased this thing called Saturday Morning RPG.
Okay.
It's a game on Xbox that was previously released a few years ago on iOS.
Yep.
And it's a fun game, man. It's like it's not the greatest as far as gameplay mechanics go. Like it wasn't like, this like awesome like, fighting system and stuff like that. But if you're from the 80s, right? If you're a child of the 80s or you even grew up during that era or have had any interaction with anything from the 80s, then you're going to recognize a lot of the stuff that they have in this RPG. A lot of it is just all nostalgic references to things that you'll instantly get. Like they have like, Care Bears, they have Cobra Commander, they have like Cobra soldiers that come after you. They're not called Cobra. Like the Cobra Commander guy is called Commander Hood. Like there's a paralysis move that I got like in the first couple of minutes where like if I choose that move to attack my enemy, I would put on a Michael Jackson glove, moonwalk backwards towards them, right? Turn around and slap them with the Michael Jackson glove and then go back to my starting position, but they'd be paralyzed for the next move so I could get them again. And it's just like little things like that just like make me want to keep playing because I want to see what else I'm going to see.
Yeah.
There was a screenshot of the game, like, as you're looking through like, hey, I'm going to buy this game. I want to look at the screenshots. There was a screenshot that had him fighting some Cobra troops or whatever, but it was in front of the DeLorean from Back to the Future. And that was fucking awesome.
That's cool, man.
So like I'm looking forward to finishing that game. And then the very last one that I picked up was called State of Decay.
Okay.
Another horror game, but it's like if you think maybe Skyrim meets The Walking Dead.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
So you're basically building your own Walking Dead universe.
Yeah.
And you're your own Walking Dead character. You can create like a group of people and, kind of like, make sure that they survive and like get them through hard times and all that good stuff and find places where you can shelter down. And it's a cool game. I played it on the Xbox 360. They re-released it on the Xbox One, and there's a State of Decay 2 coming out. They just announced it. So, I'm looking forward to that, but I never finished State of Decay on the Xbox 360, so that's why I bought it on this. It's only $9.
Oh, that's easy. Yeah. That's awesome, man.
Anybody listening, it's gonna be, these sales are on until October 31st.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna pick up Outlast, like $6. Like, can't go wrong. Sounds pretty awesome. You obviously were talking about something that I think we have to talk about, which is obviously The Walking Dead.
What?
Because that was insane, and it's obviously probably one of the best episodes of The Walking Dead yet. I thought it was very well done. I thought, dude, Negan is such a friggin' badass. Like, I know he's the villain, and I know he like murdered Abraham and Glenn. But dude, I mean, he's a badass, and I love his kind of. I really like the energy that his character brings to the screen. You know, it's like he's got a power behind his eyes. He basically like takes what he says very seriously, and he wants everybody to know that he's not screwing around. Right. But I also like kind of like the sarcasm behind him too. You know, and I think one of the things that I've even said this on social media is that, you know, I understand that a lot of people are upset about Glenn and Abraham, but it's also it's really comes down to perspective. Like if this was Rick's group and somebody came in and like did this to our group and killed like a bunch of our people, we would have done the same exact thing. You know, but we're just used to seeing it from Rick's perspective. So Negan looks like the villain. But you got to think about it. Like, we went into his complex and, like, literally, like, murdered people in their sleep. You know? So it's kind of like, dude, it's payback. I mean, like, we kind of got what we deserved for taking out, you know, his crew. And he's just fighting back, which normally I think anybody would do. But it really is just perspective. It's all relative. Yeah. And
I'm glad you said that.
You know?
I mean, that's something that I want everybody to realize is that Negan is, for all intents and purposes, he's the villain of this season for Rick's crew. Yeah. But he's not evil.
That's the thing. I mean, he's basically saying he's fair. Yeah. You know?
Like, he's not evil. He goes a little overboard. Yeah. But he's essentially the anti-Rick. Right. Like, he's Rick for his crew. Yeah. And his crew is a lot bigger than Rick's, so he probably has to go a little further than Rick would to keep everything in line and make sure that everything is okay with his
and
with
gain
his group.
Everybody's respect.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, to be fair, like, knowing Negan from reading the comics and stuff like that, like, he's not as loved by his group as Rick is by his group, because he is more of a tyrant, but it is out of necessity.
Yeah, he has to be in order to kind of, you know, maintain that power status.
Yeah, and you can't maintain a power status with a group that large.
No. I mean,
without being somewhat of a dick.
Well, yeah, but there's also going to be people that want to rebel against you and want that power, so you're going to have those, like, enemies that are still kind of, like, trying to be your friends, so you got to watch out for those people. I will say that I had two picks going into this, and they were right. It was Abraham and Glenn. That was my guess. Abraham took it like a badass, you know, basically saying, like, suck my nuts. I thought was awesome. It's so Abraham, and it basically, in a sense, gave Abraham kind of like the last word. Like, he got hit to the head, but then he was like, basically, fuck you, and knew he was going down, but basically told him off before he went down, because what is he going to do? You know, Glenn, though, I feel like it struck a chord with a lot of people harder than Abraham, because obviously Glenn, everybody says he's like the heart of the team, of the crew, and like I can see that. I don't know if I necessarily agree. I think he's a good guy, but you know, the guy's got 9 lives, and this was you know, his 10th life, or the end of his 9 lives. But I mean, I think for me, what bothered me about that scene was he got smashed in the head, and then like his brain's legit like showing, and his eyes all fucked up. I mean, he basically got hit like twice, and Negan like stops and like continues talking to his group, being like, "Oh, I know this must be hard for you guys." Blah blah blah. While you can hear him in the background, like legit like suffering because he's all fucked up. Like, that's the only thing that didn't really sit well with me. It's like, if you're gonna take somebody out, then take them out. But he really like kind of, you know, like dragged that out, I think, a little longer than he had to. And then he took him out.
Put yourself in, again, like, because you've already done this. You've already put yourself in their shoes, but put yourself in the shoes of Negan's group, right? Rick's crew went in and straight murked an entire, like, compound. Yeah. Right? Like, I can't even remember how many people were there that they just freaking, like, killed in their sleep. Yeah. Right? And Negan's getting revenge for that, right? So not only is he showing his people, hey, this is what I'm willing to do for you, but he's also showing Rick's people, this is how far I'm willing to go, right? And if you want to continue this, by all means, let's do it. Yeah, and this is what you have in store for you. Like I would put on a show like that myself.
Yeah, you know? But I think the problem I had with it, and I get that, like he's basically, it's like payback, but in a sense, I mean, like I feel like Negan was privy to some information that I don't know, man. I like I said, I just feel like maybe it's just me and that's my mentality, and I probably couldn't picture myself like smashing somebody's head in like that unless it's like a necessity, like it was me or the other person. Like I just, that wouldn't be me unless it was self-defense. But I mean, like he obviously knew that Glenn had some sort of relationship with Maggie, because how he like went after like Maggie when Negan said that she looked like absolute shit and thought she might get killed. He obviously knows that there was some kind of connection there. So to basically smash his head in twice, and then like she has to sit there and basically like, you know what I mean? Like just take the fucking guy out. You know, like I thought that was a little fucked up because he obviously knows there's something going on there. And I didn't like that. Like, and maybe that's why he's technically the villain, but it's like, I mean, he took out Abraham quick enough where it was like two like one shot to the head, boom, hits him again, and then just goes ape shit on him. But then he takes out Glenn, who is like, he tries to say some shit and he does say it, but then he continues to talk while he's like fucking suffering, and like Maggie's got to watch this. Like that for me wasn't cool. I thought that was a shitty move.
But he's sending a message to more than just Rick's team.
I know that he's doing that. Like I get that he's like it's more than just Rick's team. It's everybody else. But
it's how he keeps his crew in line.
Right, but I'm also looking at it from a perspective where like it was just more than that. There was a lot of other stuff going on. I feel like he didn't have to make them wait that long to take him out.
Plus Lucille was thirsty.
Yeah, whatever, vampire bat. But I mean, like, yeah, you know, if Lucille's thirsty, then fucking feed her, right? I mean, like, that's kind of the way I look at it. But it was, I don't know, that was probably the only part of the scene that was kind of disturbing to me, is that he waited that long. But I mean, I think
he's a complex character. I mean, like right now, you see what he's doing, and like it rubs you the wrong way, and it's supposed to. It's supposed to rub you the wrong way. It's supposed to make you feel
I was just going to say that.
It's supposed to make you uncomfortable. It's supposed to make you not like the guy. And there are hopefully many more stories to come that are going to make you feel that way even more. Mm-hmm. And then hopefully they continue down the other path where, you know, I'm not going to say anything, but there are other things, more like some deeper interactions that you get with Negan that maybe you start feeling a little sympathetic for the character. So hopefully those things come as well. I'm looking forward to what they're doing with the season. The complete fucking dominance of Rick was a little like unnerving for me, because I don't like that. I don't like watching somebody get turned into a bitch.
The whole like Carl scene where he's gonna cut off his kid's arm.
Felt to me just like. Do you remember Game of Thrones when Ramsay Snow had friggin' Theon Greyjoy? Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah.
Cut his nuts off and everything. It was or his dick or whatever, and then it was like, yeah, you know, this is now you're Reek.
Yeah.
You know? I feel like he's now Reek Grimes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Like that's his new name for me, is Reek Grimes, because I mean, like, he was literally going to cut his son's arm off. At that point, I swear to God, this is how I would react. And I know, like, people say you don't know how you would react in that situation because you've never been in that situation. But I can tell you, I would have fucking just look. Sorry, guys, we're all going to fucking die right now because I am going to try to kill this motherfucker. Because I have an axe in my hand. He's standing right above me. He's telling me to cut my son's arm off. I'm not doing that.
Yeah, fuck you.
I'm going to fucking kill this guy. And if I fuck up and everybody dies, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But at least I'm not going out like a bitch.
I will say this, man. Like, fucking, like hat off to Andrew Lincoln for, like, killing that scene.
Yeah,
dude, he had like snot coming out of his nose and shit. Like, that wasn't planned, but they kept that. Like, that shit was real.
Yeah,
like I was like, wow, this guy's killing it right now. There's only one other scene that I've seen somebody do that. It's gross as shit, but they kept it because of the emotion was raw. Is when in Gladiator, where Russell Crowe actually like comes back to his farm to try to like save his wife and kid, and he comes up to see his wife and kid hanging, like burned. Yeah, and dude, he like grabs his wife's feet, and there's like snot coming out of his nose. It's like
what scene?
Gladiator.
Oh, okay,
and
like,
I
remember.
And like there's like snot coming out of his nose, it's dripping off his face. Like, it's gross as shit, but it's like. It's hard to watch that scene because, like, you believe he's feeling that. Well, I mean, dude, this is why he got an Oscar for that fucking movie.
Right.
But, I mean, like, that scene alone is just, like, so fucking painful to watch because he, like, rushed his ass home to try to save his family, and he was just, like hours late. You know, and it sucks. But Walking Dead, man, next episode this Sunday obviously is going to be all about the Kingdom, which I'm excited to see. You know, Morgan's going to be hanging out with Carol. and we're going to get to see kind of that dynamic come to fruition because they started off on a rough patch, but I think there's some growing for them to do. You know, King Ezekiel's going to be there, so I'm looking to see what the deal with that is. I'm hoping there's going to be an appearance of his tiger, which is going to be badass.
Oh, as soon as you see Ezekiel, you're going to see the tiger because that's how it's.
We're going to get to see.
That's how it's unveiled.
Fucking Life of Pi and The Walking Dead.
Dude,
I can't wait. So
that is like my favorite, one of my favorite scenes in the comic, man. My most like gut wrenching scene was when Glenn got his head bashed in the comics. My favorite scene in the comics is when you fucking see Ezekiel and the tiger's there, and like my first reaction is, this motherfucker has a tiger.
Yeah,
he's got a tiger. Holy shit! Right, and it's like it's just like this feeling of like now we're fucking talking.
Yeah,
you know
no,
I mean, it's the apocalypse. This guy was a fucking zookeeper, and he's just fucking got a tiger.
Yeah, because you know that tiger's gonna fuck people up. I can't wait to see it. So, but I'm telling you right now, I am, as much as I'm down for that tiger. Like, I can't wait. I am dreading the time when that tiger gets it because I know it's gonna be fucking brutal. And I hate fucking animal cruelty shit, and I'm not gonna be able to deal with it. Like,
it takes a while.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say like that's all.
How fucked up are we as people though, man? Like, 'cause think about that.
No,
like,
because we're desensitized. We see it so fucking much.
That's what I'm saying. Like, think about that. Think about the fact that we can, not just us, but even just Hollywood in general. Like, how many times do you see animal cruelty in a film? Not many.
Mm-hmm. No.
How many times do you see a child get like brutalized in a film? Not many.
Right.
And it's because like those are the things that people are like, you know,
sensitive over.
you can't do that. But you can fucking like cut people's heads off. You can
smash
like,
people's heads in.
Women can get raped. You can have people get like, you know, it's all that shit is just fucking fair game. But can't kill a dog.
Yeah, I just think
can't like in the NFL, dude. Fucking like, I swear to God, listen. This is a true story. I don't know if you know this or not, and I can't remember the fucking guy's name. Jeez, I'm trying to remember now. Dante Stallworth. Mm-hmm. All right, he was a Patriot, a Brown. He was drunk driving, and ran a old man over and killed him.
Yeah,
right. And like the next year, he's fucking back playing football. Fucking right. Michael Vick has
dogs. Yeah, I know.
Has a dog fighting ring or whatever that like he was aware of it, but he wasn't really even involved in that shit. Like, it was his boys doing that shit on his property or whatever. And this motherfucker can't play football for like ever, and he's in jail for like years. Like, but fucking this guy goes drunk driving and murders a man, a human being, and he's fucking back in the league like the very next year, like playing for the Patriots. He got cut from the Browns and starts playing for the Patriots. Yeah. To me, it's just like that. That's just indicative of the shit that I'm talking about right now. Like, we can't stomach animal cruelty, but we can totally stomach violence against other men.
Yeah.
Women.
Well, no, I really think it comes down to just being desensitized. I mean, like, how many times have you seen somebody get killed on TV since you're growing up? It's like you're kind of immune to it at this point.
Yeah.
But when you see, like, dude, I see Facebook videos. There was like some girl. I swear to God, man, this like strikes a chord with me. Like I get angry thinking about it because it's like there's this dog on a bed and there's this girl that is slapping this dog in the face, just slapping it in the face, and the girl keeps hitting the dog, and the dog's like doesn't know what's going on. The dog's like coming up to her, and she keeps hitting it, and this girl's like looking in the camera, like laughing, but literally abusing this dog. And I don't know how it got posted on Facebook. It's
awful,
but it's one of those things where it's like the dog doesn't know. The dog doesn't know what's going on, but is trying to figure it out, but doesn't just know that this person's being a fucking asshole.
Yeah.
And I literally said to this, I commented, people were resharing it because they wanted to find out who this girl was. And they're like, I hope this girl gets arrested for animal cruelty. And I literally posted, I was like, if I ever saw this girl, I would literally fucking bash her face in with a bat. Like, I don't give a fuck. But like, you think it's funny that you're doing that? Like, why don't we bash your face in a couple times and smile about it and see how many times you think, you know what I mean? It's just like, I don't understand that. Like, that is so wrong on so many levels because that dog doesn't understand what's going on. And a person that is getting, if two people are fighting and they like go at it, like they both understand the circumstances and what's at stake, but an animal doesn't. And I think that's why it bothers me.
Right. But I mean, like for me, like I brought it to real life for a second, but going back to like fantasy and back to like Hollywood and stuff like that, I feel like that's the territory that we need to explore because that's the shit that's going to disturb me. That's the shit that's going to make me scared. Mm-hmm. It's the shit that's going to bring horror to my life because all the other shit is like like you said, we're desensitized. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, and honestly, dude, I mean that it brings me to one moment in a movie that I want to bring up quickly, and actually this is great because it kind of brings us into our segment, which is, you know, guys, this is our 60th episode, and we're psyched about that. But before I get into that, I mean, when you talk about the, you know, that's an area we need to explore. I'm sure everybody who's listened to this podcast has seen John Wick.
Yeah.
And there's the beginning scene where like his dog gets murdered.
Yep,
and you
that's
hear it, and you hear it in the background, like you hear his dog getting murdered, and the fact that he went after those people mostly for that. And like at the end where the guy's like, oh, he's like, it was just a dog, man, and he literally just shot him right in the head. I'm like, fuck you, like it was all for that dog. Like, you know what I mean? I was like, I get that, I understand why he was pissed, right? But it's shit like that I can't hear that whimpering of the dog and all that shit, dude.
But like, that's the thing though, like
it
that
makes me so angry.
That's exactly what I'm saying though, is that John Wick, right? That movie worked for me because they killed the dog.
Yeah, exactly.
And I was like, fuck them.
Yeah, I'm serious, dude.
Get them motherfuckers, right? Like, kill them, get revenge, do whatever you need to do, right? And like, it got me invested in like what he was at.
Exactly.
Like, I'm sick of the oh, they killed my wife, they killed my, like, let's be real. If they killed my wife, yes, I would be upset, absolutely, in real life. But in the movies, I'm just sick of that fucking trope of like, you know,
it's the same storyline.
They killed my family. No, they killed his dog.
Yeah.
Fuck them.
Yeah.
Right.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
That's why John Wick like worked for me, you know?
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. So yeah, it's our 60th episode, bro.
Yeah, man. So 60th episode. This is badass. And guys, we are actually going to talk about today, really getting into it, man. We're going to talk about the top 3 scenes that really disturbed us. Mainly because, guys, this is officially our Halloween episode. So happy Halloween, everybody that's out there. But guys, we're going to talk about, you know, the 3 top scenes that disturbed us. But being that it's our 60th episode, we took the honor of, or the liberty of, basically trying to figure out what horror movie, you know, came out in 1960, you know, and believe it or not, 1960, the best horror movie that came out was Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho.
One of the best horror movies
One of
ever.
the best that set the standard for horror movies, scared the hearts into many women taking showers.
Yeah,
so,
like, I mean, like, Anthony Perkins was brilliant in that film.
Oh, he was excellent. Norman Bates, man, one of the best characters ever.
Yeah.
You know, one of the most twisted characters ever. One of the weirdest characters, I think, to come on the screen in the 1960s, which I think is why it struck a chord with so many people, because he was like dressing like his mother. He was spying on people. He was fucked up. Like, people hadn't seen that on the screen yet. And then you incorporate that like murder shower scene.
Yeah, and like he was actually not a bad guy.
No.
But mom
was fucked up.
Was fucked up. Like when she came out, forget it. And like it was mind blowing to me, because like you had this thing where like he was like, you know, he was genuinely nice to these people, you know, offering them a place to stay and blah blah blah. You know, come on in. Like, you know, I'm gonna be there for you. I'm basically your servant while you stay in our hotel. Whatever you need, blah blah blah.
Yep.
And here he is killing people, and like the immediate like feeling is to think that he's just being fake.
Yeah.
Right? Or like he's not duplicitous. He's just fake, and like he's manipulative.
Right.
But he's not.
No.
That's him. Like he doesn't even have any idea that
twisted.
He doesn't even know that he's doing the shit that he's doing.
Yeah, that's the best part of it.
Because he's Psycho. That's why the name of the movie is Psycho.
Yeah. Dude, it's probably it's obviously one of the best horror movies. And they used chocolate syrup for the blood.
Yeah, because it was black and white.
Exactly.
You owe me a Coke. Buy me a Coke.
That's stupid. So,
Pinky, pinky.
Oh my God.
Flush it down the kitchen sinky.
Did anybody?
Alley-oop, hinky.
No,
The
I don't
king
even
of
know.
France wet his pants right in the middle of a ballroom dance.
Wow, I don't even know any of that. That's
Oh,
good.
come on, man. SNL?
Oh, SNL. All right, yeah. All right. All right, so yeah, but let's definitely start talking about these scenes, man. I'm excited. I am gonna give you the honor. We're gonna start with 3 and obviously go backwards into the number 1. But what is number 3 for you on like scenes that disturbed you?
We're gonna take it right back to 1989.
Yeah.
And we're talking about Pet Sematary here. Zelda,
Good one.
the sister of the wife of the main character of the film. She is hideous. Okay? And hideous because she's like sick and her body is very sickly. She's very skinny. She's wasting away. And the makeup job that they did on her just looked freaking just grotesque. And it was like, those are the things that disturb me. Like when I'm looking on something that looks like it could be real, right? But is just so fucking creepy and nasty. And there's a scene where she dies, where she's just like, you can see her like breathing heavily, and like they show her back, and her back is just like all like just, you can see like her rib cage like protruding through her back, and it's just like, oh, it's gross. It's just gross. And it's disturbing to me. It was like that's all I could see when I would close my eyes and get ready to go to sleep was Zelda's face. Okay. And it took a while for me to be able to go to sleep like right away. Like it took me, cause like it usually, like after seeing that movie, maybe it took like an extra like 15, 20 minutes for me to be able to close my eyes and just like fade away into sleep in La La Land. But, you know, probably about a week or two later, I was good.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, dude, Pet Sematary is one of those movies that I didn't really know what to think of it when I watched it the first time, and I was like, what the fuck? Because I never read like any of the shit, like the books, you know?
Yo, Stephen King is a true master. Okay?
No, he's a master of horror.
People who watch the movies based on Stephen King's books don't know what the fuck they're missing, because like a lot of the movies are awful.
Well, I don't know.
They're bad.
Well, I will agree with you and disagree with you on that, because I'm a big fan of Stephen King film, right? Like I liked Carrie, I liked Cujo, I liked It. I loved I mean like his movies are good. I even thought The Mist was good. Like I think all of these movies are very good movies to some extent. I've tried to read Stephen King, and I don't like his writing because I feel like he is overly descriptive. Like, and that might be a plus for some people, but it's like, I remember I was reading It, and he started talking about the boat that's going down, the boat that they made that's going down the sidewalk, which is eventually where it goes into the gutter where they see the clown for the first time. And then he starts talking about the paper that they made to use it. And then he starts talking about the wax they used. And then the store they got the wax in and how many hours it took and da-da-da. It's like, oh, my God, who gives a fuck? You're like, we get it, dude. We get it. Like, I don't need 4 fucking pages for you to describe this to me.
When he does stuff like that, though, 9 times out of 10, it comes back around in something else. And it's like, so there's always like a reason for it. And it, I didn't read, so I can't remember.
I tried reading it, man. I got like 40 pages, and I was like, I can't. I got so bored with it.
Yeah, like it was that was a movie that I kind of got bored with because it was like such a fucking long. It was a miniseries.
Yeah, well, they're actually remaking it.
Yeah, I can't wait for the remake because then I can watch it in 2 hours. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like I can't watch a miniseries. It's like it's weird because I can watch a television show and I can watch a movie, but I can't watch a movie that's turned into a miniseries that takes 6 hours. It's like fuck that.
They're remaking it, man. But Tim Curry, dude, he's got some hard shoes to fill for Pennywise. But it was just Stephen King. I mean, it was. I think one of the books that I had a hard time reading but got through was American Psycho by Bret Easton Ellis. Like I read that book, man, and Bret Easton Ellis, like he's a great author, but he really took the time. He wrote that book the way that he did to put you in the mindset of the character. Where I feel like Stephen King writes to be descriptive for whatever reason. This guy was overly descriptive because he wanted you to see everything from this character's perspective. So Patrick Bateman is overly observant about what people are wearing because he wants to fit in so badly and be accepted. But he's got this psycho background to him where it's like he looks, he's wearing a Brooks Brothers tie with a Gucci suit. And he has his hair, and he's got this type of tie, and he's got those type of shoes. And, he goes through, he'll go through 6 pages of going to the nth degree about somebody, what they're wearing, what brand it is, how much it is. After halfway through the book, I'm like, Jesus Christ, he just walked into a room of people. Here goes 20 pages of description. And it's like, I got to the point where I was like, I knew every fucking brand ever and how much everything was. That's why when I walk by Brooks Brothers, I'm like, fuck that. But it's like, I'll never buy anything in that store because it's retarded. It's like $60 for a T-shirt. But anyway, so, back to what we were saying. We kind of went off on a tangent there. But, man, Pet Sematary, I mean, killer movie. You know, it disturbed you. I totally get that.
What's yours?
Oh, my God. It kind of... When I was thinking about this just a couple minutes ago, it became a toss-up between two movies. But I'm going to go with the one that I originally thought of, which was The Vanishing. The Vanishing was a movie that I saw when I was younger with Kiefer Sutherland, Sandra Bullock, and Jeff Bridges. And it's about this guy who goes on a road trip with his wife. They get in a fight. She walks down to the nearest gas station. He finds her there. They reconcile their differences, and they're like, all right, let's make up and let's enjoy the rest of this trip. And then she goes into the convenience store, and then she disappears, and he doesn't know what the hell happened to her. And then come to find out, he's tries to move on. He gets a girlfriend, and then the girlfriend thinks that he's cheating on her, so he goes to this other apartment he has where you realize he's overly obsessed with trying to find out what happened to his girlfriend. And he goes on the news. And the guy who was responsible for his wife's disappearance sees him on the news and finds him and basically says to him, in order for you to figure out what happened, you have to go through the same thing she did. So he makes him drink something, which basically knocks him out, and he fucking wakes up in a coffin. And you find out that he basically buried his girlfriend alive. And that was probably my first encounter with the thought of being buried alive, and it's my fucking number one fear, and it scares the shit out of me, and it terrifies me, and it's because of that scene. He wakes up, there's no one around to hear him, nobody can help, he can't get out of the coffin, it's a fucking enclosed space in the dark, he's claustrophobic, it leaves him with nothing but a lighter for him to be able to see these in a fucking box. That shit scares the fuck out of me, and it disturbs the shit out of me, and that movie is the number one reason why. And I think it also has something to do with it when I was growing up, from the time I was 13 to probably 18, I had a huge crush on Sandra Bullock. So, like, to find out that, like, that's what happened to her character fucked me up even more. You know what I mean? Like, so there's a lot of stuff that goes into that. But that's my number 3. Just disturbed the shit out of me to this day. Still bothers me.
Well, it's funny because my number 2 is very similar. My number 2 is Serpent in the Rainbow.
I haven't seen it, but I've heard of it. I've heard of the movie, but I have not seen it.
So it's a movie about like voodoo and shit.
Yeah.
And
I heard about this movie. It's fucked up.
So this dude at the very end of the movie, like how it ends, and I'm sorry if I'm spoiling it, but this movie was fucking super, super fucking old. So whatever. You should have seen it already. But at the end of the movie, the guy is so it's like in voodoo culture or whatever. I guess they have like this like drug that makes you appear to be dead, and this guy ends up like they have a funeral for him and they bury him, and he wakes up in the coffin, and that's he's 6 feet under. He's already buried. Like nobody's ever gonna come for him, and he can't get out, and that's it. So he's like basically in the coffin, like basically gasping for air and dying, and like that's where the movie ends and the credits start to roll. So that was the thing that disturbed the shit out of me. Like, cause like yourself, that's fucking freaky, man.
No, I get
to me. Like also, I can't imagine being trapped in a box underground, buried with no chance of escape. Like it's just,
dude, that's actually one of the reasons why I want to be cremated. Like yeah. I never wanted to be cremated until like I got older, and like my mother wants to be cremated, and like I can't even deal with that shit. Like right. Dude, fucking burn me. You know, it's like I just whatever. It was actually a lot of people don't know this, being it's our Halloween episode. Did you know that was like Edgar Allan Poe's like number one fear? He had a when he died, he has a diagram of it that he drew. He wanted a rope going underground into his coffin that was hooked up above ground to a pole that had bells attached to it, so that if he woke up, he could pull on the rope and the bell would start ringing and people would know that he was still alive. That was like his biggest fear. So it's like seeing that diagram even freaked me out, you know. But yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah, it's creepy as shit, dude. I
think I want to do that just because.
Yeah. So I guess that brings us to number 2, which for me, which would be it's actually the first Alien movie, and it was actually the scene where they're all eating dinner, and Kane is the character that had the face hugger on him, and basically he's eating dinner and like he starts like coughing, and then like the shit starts coming through his chest, like
the chest buster.
Basically that fucking shit disturbs me, because John Hurt does such a good job of faking that like it's believable to me, and like it's freaky because everybody else in that scene was like so invested that I love that movie, so like I'm in that movie and I'm in it to win it. Like I'm already sucked into that movie at that point. Like I'm invested in this. I believe what's going on. But like if you sit back and take yourself out of it for a second and watch them as actors, like everybody is invested. I forgot the guy's name that's playing him, but it's the black guy. What's his name? He played Parker. His name is Yaphet Kotto, I think. But he actually like goes to the extent of actually like he doesn't know what's going on, but he goes to the extent of like holding him down on the table and trying to put like a knife in between his mouth because he's trying to bite down. And like I thought that was like a great addition because he doesn't know what's going on, but he's like, oh shit, like bite down on this, right? And then like he's trying to take it out of his mouth, and then like he's just making these awful sounds. You know, like it's this one moment where he's making the sound of like, I can't even describe it. I don't even want to try, but it's just panic of something's happening. And then the shit comes out of him. And like, it's not even it coming out of him, because when it comes out of him, he's dead. Right. It's everything leading up to that. And the sounds he makes like just disturbs the shit out of me. And it's a great scene because no matter how many times I see it, I get so I get disturbed by it, you know? I mean, bring it out to like H.R. Geiger for like making something that is that fucking disturbing and sick. But yeah, that's it, man. That'd be my second. My notes start is Alien, dude.
So my number one, man, and I know this is probably going to sound like I'm like, ripping you off because we talked about this before we started the show, but it's not necessarily a scene. So you probably still have a scene that you can use here. The Exorcist. We talked about this last Halloween. That is my number one scary movie of all time.
Yeah.
The Exorcist is scary as shit to me, and it's not anything other than the fact that Linda Blair in makeup after she's possessed and like going through all she's going through, that is the scariest fucking makeup job.
Oh yeah.
Ever. Like even like in subsequent Exorcist movies, Exorcist 2, Exorcist 3, even in any other movie that tried to emulate that, like nobody has matched the makeup job that they did on Linda Blair and making it so believable and so frightening and chilling to look at. Like that was a face that I saw in my dreams for fucking months, dude. Yeah. Months. And yeah, that takes the cake for me. Number one. Even like now, like there's a new Exorcist TV show. Yeah. It's phenomenal. It's a great show, but it's not scary like that to me because like that kind of shit doesn't scare me. The face, the eyes, and then like her voice and like, the way that her fucking, like her actions,
she like contorts and shit.
She nailed it. Like she killed it in that movie. She was awesome. Yeah. Like playing a possessed child, like the way that her face moved and like the grimace that she would have and the smiles and the weird looks and just like looking sarcastic and like it was just fucking awesome, man. And awesome in the sense that it was like roller coaster scary for me. Like my stomach turned looking at that. You know what I mean? Like it's yeah. But it wasn't any particular scene. It was any scene that her face was on the screen, and any scene that she was like, talking in was just like she stole it for me. Like she stole that whole movie.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, I'll definitely give it to you on that, man. I mean, that movie was the scary thing about The Exorcist is that I didn't even see that movie until I think I was like 13 or 14. My father allowed me to watch it if I watched it with him, and it was actually the TV version. It wasn't even the full version. Right. And he told me, he's like, you can watch this with me if you watch it, and if I feel like it's getting too much, I'm changing the channel. And like I watched the whole thing, and I wasn't as scared as I thought I was going to be because that was like the movie I couldn't see. So I expected a little bit more from it, but I was still scared as shit watching it.
I stand corrected though. Hold on. James Wan in this movie, The Conjuring 2, that just came out, the Nun.
Oh my God, that was.
If I was a kid, I probably would have had the same reaction to the Nun.
Awesome job with that.
Yeah, because that was scary as fuck.
Yeah, it was.
But like me being an adult and seeing that, like looking back, like still, Exorcist takes the cake right now.
Yeah, there's actually I forgot exactly who it was, but watching the making of The Exorcist, there's a woman who actually did the voice of the devil, right. And she used to do weird shit like she smoked a ton of cigarettes. She used to do. There was something I remember in the making. I don't know what it was, but something about her like swallowing like raw eggs to get this weird voice and. She was, I think, she was the wife of the director, and she did this voice, and they messed with it with the audio, and it made it extremely disturbing. And I think the reason why that movie is disturbing is not just the makeup. I think it's the idea behind it, and that I think is a big factor. Like this is supposed to be the devil, and which is everything that everybody is most afraid of. Like the basic personification of evil, and the laughter when the priest dies and things like that, is just disturbing in itself. The scene with the crucifix, just like the worst thing you could possibly do. That movie gave people heart attacks in the theater. Like, people died in the theater watching that movie.
Right, I remember
because
that.
they didn't know how scary it was going to be. And that was probably one of the scariest movies of the time. And
there's something to say about the film work as well.
Yeah,
like just like the way that they filmed it and the editing and just the grain.
Yeah.
Of it, because it was very realistic.
Mm-hmm. No, it was excellent. It was an excellent film. The younger priest, I think his name's Jason Miller. I think that's his name. He's actually the father of Jason Patrick, who's in the second season of Wayward Pines. That's actually the younger priest. This is his dad. But
like in real life, you mean?
Real life.
Nice.
Yeah. Which actually brings me to my number one, which is actually a movie that he was also in, but it was The Exorcist 3. The only reason there's a scene in this movie that disturbs me, and it isn't necessarily, I don't know why, but I think it's the camera work. I think it's the idea of what's going on, the fact that one of the parties involved is unaware, and it's also has a ton to do with the music. But it's in The Exorcist 3. They're in a hospital, and it's quiet, and this one nurse is basically closing things down. She's a sweet nurse. She's basically making sure all the patients are okay. There's one security guard that, of course, this is the time where he walks out. It's his time to go on break or go home or whatever. And he hears this sound coming from a room. So she goes in to this room to find out that it's this glass of ice that this one patient has on a desk that is cracking because it's melting.
Okay. And
then she goes over to the tub and looks in it, and this dude jumps out, one of the patients who's sleeping in the tub, and he's like, "What do you want from me?" He's like, "Oh," and he's like, "I just want to get some sleep in this place." And then as she's walking out of the room, he goes, "Angels of mercy, my ass," because basically it's like a Catholic, hospital. And so she's just kind of, it's at that movie where it's at that time in a movie where they scare you with something, and then you let your guard down, and then they hit you with something. She walks out, she locks a door and turns, and you see this from a distance, and then it zooms in, and the statue of Jesus that is basically a white statue comes alive, but you don't see it come alive. You just see it. The nurse turns and walks away, and then all of a sudden you see this statue, which no longer has a head, walks right behind her. Fast, very fast, has almost a white cape following it, and has these huge fucking hedge cutters that you would use, and is right behind her and is gonna cut her head fucking right off. But it zooms in and the music goes, bah! And you just see that, and then it's what the fuck? Dude, it is one of the freakiest fucking things I've ever seen. And I talked to my buddy Jim about that, and Jim Rock actually.
Yeah.
I told him about that scene, and then I showed it to him, and he was like, "Yo, fuck that." He was like, "That shit is fucking terrifying. I'll show it to you before we leave. It's fucking disturbing as shit."
Word.
And that, and if you guys have not seen The Exorcist 3, the movie itself is not bad. You have to listen to it a lot to understand what's going on, because Brad Dourif, the voice of Chucky, is actually in this movie, and he's actually playing the Gemini killer. But he's basically the spirit that has inhabited the body of the priest that fell down the stairs in the first movie. It does a fucking 180. You really have to pay attention, because basically he's saying that it took him years to rebuild the brain of this dead priest, that they found him walking around, but he didn't know who he was, so they put him into the mental institution. And this Gemini killer has been basically using his body as a vessel. It's a lot of listening. And George C. Scott actually plays the cop in this movie, who's trying to figure everything out. And it is really good. And they have some very disturbing scenes where people are walking on the ceiling and shit. It's weird, but it's good.
You mentioned music, man, and music has been the impetus for emotion in just about every movie that I can think of. What is the scariest music for you?
The scariest music for me, going back right to it, dude, is The Exorcist.
Yeah.
And it's tubular bells. That's what it is. And it's actually, my mother said this to me when I was younger, and I cannot put it any better. I said to her, because my mother actually had the vinyl of Tubular Bells, and I used to play it all the time because I was like, oh, this is the Exorcist music. This is so cool. But if you hear the long version of it, it's actually not a bad song. But when you hear the first few keys of it, it's eerie. And I said to my mother, I was like, I don't know. This is when I was younger. I was like, I don't know why this music is so scary. And my mother goes, because it's what you're relating it to. She goes,
right.
She goes, if that was the music for Beauty and the Beast, she goes, you wouldn't have a problem with it. She goes, but because it's related to The Exorcist, which you realize is a very scary movie, that music frightens you.
Right.
And it was such a good point, and I never forgot that. You know, so when I listen to that song, it does freak me out, but I'm also kind of like, well, it's just the song. You know, like I gotta like take myself out of it for a second, but it's oh my God, it's up there.
Yeah, for me, it's the music from The Omen.
That's a good one.
Like just that choir music.
Choir music, yeah.
Yeah. It's just
something to do with choir music. You know?
Yeah, like creepy choir music though. Like not just like, like friggin' like, Christian, like, holy roller. Like,
yeah.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
Like that kind of creepy. Like
yeah. It's kind of like that song Carmina Burana, where it's like it's like da, da, and then it's like
yeah.
Yeah. Da, 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 da.
Yeah.
But it's like that Latin music you hear in the background. Yeah, yeah, exactly that shit. But it's ultra epic at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's actually so freaky to me. I think the other music, obviously, and I know Craig Garrity's probably listening to this, but Craig, you're gonna know what it is before I say it. But obviously, man, it's the Jaws theme. I mean, that is freaky as hell to me, and it's because of what it suggests is going on. It's just that
I'm on land, man. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, but it's funny. There's actually a really funny video that you guys can look up. Look up Jaws music prank, and it's like basically these people are jumping. Like I think somebody throws something into the water, like this hot girl, and she's like, I dropped it, can you go get it? So like the guy jumps into what is a pond to go get it for her, and as he jumps into the water, these like three guys come up and sit down in chairs with like the big ass fucking, what do you call this thing, the cellos?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they have somebody that's underwater, like a diver with a fin, right? And they literally the guy doesn't even see the fin. He just hears the music start to play, right?
Yeah.
So he sees the guys in the dock with the cellos, which obviously it's set up, but it doesn't connect. All he does is he hears the music, he looks behind him, and he sees the fin come up, and he panics. And he's like, oh shit, I gotta get out of the water. But it's like, dude, obviously the cellos are playing the music, which is scaring you, which is connecting you to the fin that's in the water, which is probably not real because this is all a setup. But it's like, that music instinctually tells you, shark, oh shit, get out of the water. You know what I mean? So it's like, if you watch it, it's funny how much of an impact that music has on somebody, even though it's obviously bullshit.
That makes sense.
Yeah, but it's really funny. So,
dude, so real quick.
Yeah.
Real quick. If you could have the career of any one actor, who would it be?
Oh my God.
Go.
How can you throw that shit on me right now?
Go.
Oh my God.
5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2. 1.
Christian Bale.
Word. All right.
And I say Christian Bale because
that's a very. I think the parallel is gonna be there for you and I. But go ahead.
It's just not because of like, oh, he's Batman. It's not about Batman. I was a Christian Bale fan before Batman, and I mean, you guys probably haven't even seen half these movies. Look up Harsh Times. Look up The Machinist. Look up American Psycho, which you probably have seen. But like look at the body of work that he's done before Batman, like prior Batman. This guy has gone to the extent of physically changing himself and putting himself in situations, into character. Like, every character that he does is so different than the next that it's like you see a change in him happen. Like, there are a lot of actors out there, like, dude, Mark Wahlberg, okay, cool, he's a successful actor, but he's the same shit in every movie. You know, where, like, Christian Bale, like, yeah, he played Batman for 3 movies, and he was Batman, but he was Batman for 3 movies. But then look at his other movies and see the difference in his characters. Like, I admire him for that. I think he's an excellent actor. I think he's underrated, and I also respect the fact that even though he's a big A-list movie star, he goes under the radar when it comes to his personal life, and I love that about him. So, but what about you? If you could be one actor, who would it be?
Robert Downey Jr.
Really? Yeah, because of Iron Man, though, right?
No.
Why? What?
Because of everything before Iron Man and then culminating in Iron Man.
Yeah, that's a good
right?
one.
So like, I mean, before Iron Man, like, I mean, you had everything from
Back to School.
Yeah,
yeah, I know.
Weird Science.
Weird Science. Yeah.
Chaplin.
Yep.
That movie, I can't remember the name of it, but where he's like, he gets to bone like, what's her name, Sybil Shepherd when she was hot.
Yeah,
right.
When she was hot. Yeah.
What was it? Was it Sybil? Was it Sybil Shepherd? It was, right?
I don't know what movie you're talking about.
Or Kathleen Turner.
Oh, maybe. Yeah. Okay.
One of them when they were hot.
When they were hot. Yeah.
But yeah, no, he had Less Than Zero was an amazing film, like where he actually played opposite James Spader. Mm-hmm. He's a great actor, man.
You know what's funny?
He was a great actor before becoming Iron Man, and when he became Iron Man, it was like a renaissance for him.
It was
a resurrection.
It was his dream role.
And when that happened, it's like, that's the career that I would want. I would want to have like all that. I would like to have this body of work that's like shit that people would like can reflect on and like reminisce about, right? And like they were all freaking great movies. You ever see A Scanner Darkly?
Yeah, it's awesome.
It's a fucking awesome movie.
Another good movie with Keanu Reeves and Winona Ryder.
Yep, and he nailed his role in it.
He did. That movie is trippy shit. Yeah. So many people I know get high and watch that.
Road Trip.
Road Trip was a good one.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
Him and Zach Galifianakis. He's a
was
phenomenal
it Road Trip? I don't know if it was Road Trip. It was something else.
It was Road Trip.
No, Road Trip was the one with like Tom Green and shit. Like, and then
yeah, you're right. That
wasn't
was
Road Trip.
Oh my god.
No, I'll find out what it is. Go for no. Okay,
you find out what it is.
Yeah.
Find out what
it
it is.
It wasn't Road Trip. But no, I agree. But I think you want RDJ's career without the drug addiction that he went through. You know what I mean?
You know what?
But
why not? Why not throw the drug addiction in there? Because he's clearly over it, and and he probably had a fucking blast when he was doing it. You know?
Okay, that's actually it's not a okay.
All the fun without any of the consequences. I'll take that any day.
And by the way, that movie with Zach Galifianakis was called Due Date.
Due Date. Thank you. Yeah, that's right. But they went on a road trip.
They went on a road trip.
Okay.
They did.
All
yeah.
Right. In my defense,
with that dog with the fucking cone on his head.
Yeah, dude. The scene with Danny McBride was
you love Danny McBride.
Awesome, man.
Well, I will say this. I mean, Dave, you just said something like RDJ. I mean, I think Jon Favreau is the thing for that because he literally gave that guy a shot with Iron Man, and like
he went to bat for him.
Yeah, dude, and it couldn't have been a better casting decision. I mean, like people were like, "Oh, this guy's gonna play Iron Man," and I was like, "Fuck yeah!"
Apparently, Terrence Howard took a pay cut to get him in.
Yeah,
but then bitched about it when he got cut from the.
Yeah, well, whatever. I think Terrence Howard should have stayed in, to be honest with you. But
I think so too.
He's killing it in Empire.
I think so too. I do think that he should have just, not draw attention to it though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because like I think it makes him sound
kind of like a bitch.
Bitter. Yeah. Very bitter.
Yeah.
And he has every right to be bitter, but I think to voice that and like when there's nothing you can do about it. Yeah. Like if there was something you could do about it and you could like actually get your way back in, sure. But like there's nothing you can do about it. So all it sounds like is a bunch of yip yap and it sounds really like it's off-putting to me. But anyway.
Yeah.
I'm nothing against Terrence. I think he's awesome. He's a phenomenal actor. One of my favorites, especially in Big Mama's House. He was awesome.
Yeah, and everybody forgets that he was in that. And I thought
and
like,
his role was fucking great
wasn't
in that
it,
film.
dude?
Yeah.
I really liked him in that. That's when he was like ultra skinny. And then and now in Empire he's kind of heavier, but
he was like, I was like freaked out by him. Like he was creepy.
He was good in that, man. He was excellent. Everybody's like, oh, Terrence Howard. I'm always remember Big Mama's House. That's the first role I remember seeing him in.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, it's so funny, and obviously I think we've talked about this numerous times, but ever since Terrence Howard became bigger on the scene, my buddy Don brought up a very good point that he's like, you ever notice how Terrence Howard in every role, anytime he talks, it sounds like he's gonna cry, and he does this impression which I'm gonna try now, which I know I'm not gonna nail, but he just be like, I'm gonna make up shit. He's like, I'm just trying to tell you that, I don't know what I want to say, but I think I'm gonna cry. Like it's just like you hear him in Empire, and it's like every time he talks, like it sounds like he's gonna cry, but he's mad. You know what I mean? Like he's just so good. But he's a great actor, man. He really is. He's another guy that I feel like has kind of been underrated. But but he's doing a really great job in Empire. But
look, I think Cheadle is good. I don't think he's as good as Terrence Howard was, but. I mean,
yeah, but Don Cheadle, I don't know. Don Cheadle, I will say this, is like the master of frigging accents. I mean, you were telling me earlier, by the way, bringing this shit up before we end it. Apparently, Cooley hasn't seen like any heist movies. He's never seen The Score. He's never seen The Italian Job. He's never seen
Ant-Man.
You've never seen any of the Ocean's movies, like.
Ant-Man's not a heist movie,
well,
dude?
it is, dude, but it's probably the least. Dude, if I didn't even think of Ant-Man until you brought it up as a heist movie. Like, you've never seen Entrapment except for the preview with Catherine Zeta-Jones' amazing ass. I'm telling you, dude, watch Entrapment. In Oceans 11, 12, and 13, Don Cheadle has like a English Cockney accent, which is outstanding. Like, he nails it. It's completely, you don't even recognize him. And then he had an African accent in Hotel Rwanda. Like, the guy is talented.
I'll watch that, and I'll watch both of those movies if you watch two movies that I tell you right now.
Go for it.
Cockneys versus Zombies.
Okay.
And Attack the Block.
Cockneys versus Zombies and Attack the Block.
Yes.
Okay. But what two movies were you going to watch? Because I named a couple. I named like 5, bro.
You got me.
Yeah. No, which two?
Which one? I watched the Oceans movies.
There's 3 of them.
I'll watch
Oceans 11,
I'll
12,
watch all
13.
3 of them. I'll watch all 3 of them. You watch the 2 I gave you.
I say this. I'm going to do you a solid. There's 3 movies. Give me another one, and I'll give you 3. Give me one more that you think I should see. Give me something other than horror. Give me like a drama, like something that you think I haven't seen. And then because I want you to watch Oceans 11. Skip 12 because it sucked. Watch Ocean's 13 with Al Pacino, and then I want you to watch The Score with Robert De Niro and oh my God, what the fuck? I just said his name earlier. Fucking who played the Edward Norton? You got to see those 3. Those are excellent heist movies. And if anybody disagrees, you better tell me on Twitter. The Italian Job was good too, but I don't know. It wasn't necessarily like a. It was a good heist movie, but I think those 3 were better.
All right.
What was the third?
I don't know. I don't have a third that I think you have to watch that you haven't seen yet.
All right. You have to post it on Twitter, and I want to see what other people have to say about it. And pending the results, I will watch it. I may not watch it, depending on what other people say. All right? I have to watch it no matter
what. If I have to watch the 3 that you're giving me, you have to watch the 3 I give you. That's the trade-off. I gave you 2. You could have just watched 2, but no, you wanted me to do 3, so I'm going to give you a third one when I think of it. But right now, I have the 2.
All right.
And then next week, I'll give you the third one because I don't think you're going to watch any of them by the time I see you next week.
All right, guy, relax. I have a break. I'll watch them. They're on Netflix. All right. Anyway, guys, that does it for us this week on the Redbeard Podcast. Happy Halloween to everybody. I hope you guys have a great time. We have
ghosts, goblins.
Spooky things. Oh, no. There's one thing. I want you guys to go on the Redbeard Podcast on Twitter and look up the tweet that I tweeted, right? It's the tweet that I tweeted.
Twat it.
Yeah, it's actually Zach Galligan, who played Billy in Gremlins. He took the liberty of filming a 3-minute trailer called, instead of Gremlins, it's called Groblins. And it makes fun of everything 80s, from really bad green screen to overacting and bad acting to even incorporating somebody we talked about last week called Corey Feldman. Please check it out. It is amazing. It's on my Twitter, and it's on Redbeard Podcast. You guys would love it. 3 minutes.
MySpace.
MySpace. 3 minutes of your time. Guys, once again, Redbeard Podcast on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, everywhere. We are there.
Alta Vista.
YouTube. Check us out, guys. We'll see you next week. That's
Yoo-hoo.
it. That's
Yahoo.
it. Later.